Why it was sometimes better to be a concubine than a peasant's wife. Imagine you have two options. Option one, you marry a poor farmer, you wake up before sunrise, you work the fields, you haul water, you raise children, and if the harvest fails, everyone goes hungry. Option two, you become the concubine of a powerful noble, wealthy merchant, or an emperor. You live inside a palace, you eat well, you wear expensive clothes, you never touch a plow. Which life would you choose? For much of history, millions of women faced versions of this exact trade off. And surprisingly, for some women, becoming a concubine could offer a better quality of life than marrying a poor peasant. But the reality was far more complicated than it sounds. Life as a peasant's wife. To understand why, we first need to understand peasant life. For most of history, peasants made up the overwhelming majority of the population. Life was hard, really hard. A peasant wife wasn't simply a homemaker. She was a laborer. She planted crops, harvested food, tended animals, made clothing, cooked meals from scratch, collected firewood, fetched water, raised children, and often worked from dawn until dark. There were no weekends, no retirement plans, no health care, no safety net. One bad harvest could mean starvation. One illness could destroy an entire family. In many places, life expectancy was shockingly low. Survival itself was a full-time job. Enter the concubine. Now consider the life of a concubine. A concubine was generally a woman in a recognized relationship with a powerful man, but without the full legal status of a wife. The exact role varied across cultures, including in places such as China, the Ottoman Empire, and numerous royal courts around the world. While their status was lower than that of a wife, they often lived inside wealthy households. That meant access to things peasants could only dream about: reliable food, comfortable housing, servants, fine clothing, education in some cases, protection from the physical hardship of agricultural labor. From a purely material perspective, the difference could be enormous. Wealth changes everything. The biggest advantage wasn't romance, it was economics. A noble household possessed resources that ordinary people could barely imagine. A peasant family might spend every day worrying about the next harvest. A wealthy court worried about politics. Both had problems, but only one group was worried about starving. For many women, simply having regular meals and shelter represented a dramatic improvement in quality of life. Today, we often focus on freedom and personal choice. Historically, survival was often the first priority. The possibility of social mobility. There was another reason some women preferred becoming concubines: opportunity. A peasant wife usually remained a peasant wife. Her social status changed very little. A concubine, however, sometimes had access to a powerful network. If she gained favor, her influence could grow dramatically. Some concubines became trusted advisors. Some accumulated wealth. Some became mothers of future rulers. And a few rose to extraordinary levels of power. History contains numerous examples of women who began as concubines and eventually shaped entire governments. For someone born into poverty, that possibility was almost unimaginable. But there was a catch. Actually, several catches. Being a concubine also came with significant disadvantages. You typically had less legal protection than a wife. Your position depended heavily on the favor of a powerful man. If that favor disappeared, so could your status. Competition inside royal courts could be intense. Political intrigue was common. Jealousy was common. Power struggles could become dangerous. A peasant's life was difficult. A palace could be dangerous in completely different ways. Freedom versus comfort. This is where the comparison becomes interesting. The peasant's wife often had a recognized place within her community and family. The concubine might enjoy luxury, but have less security over her future. One life offered familiarity and family stability. The other offered comfort and opportunity, but also uncertainty. Neither option was ideal by modern standards. both are products of societies where women had far fewer rights than they do today. Conclusion. So, was it better to be a concubine than a peasant's wife? If you're measuring food, clothing, housing, and physical comfort, the answer was often yes. A wealthy household could provide a standard of living that ordinary peasants could never achieve. But if you're measuring independence, legal status, and long-term security, the answer becomes much more complicated. The choice wasn't between a good life and a bad life. It was between two very different kinds of vulnerability. One involved poverty, the other involved power. And throughout history, people have always been forced to decide which risk they would rather live with.